Hey everybody, this is Harshit.8 and welcome to the podcast. And yes, this time we have another great episode with my dear friend Auli. So I'm actually working with Auli and he's an amazing community manager. So today we're actually going to talk about community management, Discord moderation, and if you're running an NFT project, why it's super important to understand what community management is and how building community even works. So let's dive in with Auli the conversation about community management. So GM Auli, GM, how are you doing, sir?
GM, so happy to be here. How are you doing?
Doing good as well. Doing good as well. So are you in Paris? Are you in Paris right now?
No, not yet. I'm flying on Friday morning, early morning. I'm
Okay.
currently in Barcelona, but yeah, flying to Paris and very excited to be in Paris in a couple of days.
Perfect, perfect. So I think you're gonna meet the base team there as well, which is gonna be super amazing. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Ollie, do you want to get started with introducing yourself, or just tell the audience what you do, and maybe even a little bit about your PFP, the Clonex that you rock right now, because it's everywhere, right? And I think you also recently got it, and why it's super important to you, and how you got into the space, and yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so I started off actually through crypto, like understanding crypto through a friend at school, like a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And then late 2021, I got into NFTs and I started, diving into Twitter. And it feels like I've never almost missed like Twitter on a daily basis since then, because you just get stuck into it. And I just started following interesting people who, shared good thoughts on the space and stuff. And I started
Okay.
kind of collecting NFTs at the end of 2021. One of my first NFTs was actually a World of Woman.
Okay.
And then I collected more and more NFTs throughout this past year and a half or so. And then I was like, okay, I've made like this like quite big purchase through World of Woman, which was like my first big ETH NFT purchase. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, let me like actually join a community and see what it's like inside Discord. And I just decided to join, and I was just like mind blown by the kind of people I found there. Like there was like so many like people from all around the world. There were people who were just getting into NFTs like me, or people who had massive like amounts of money into NFTs, and it was just crazy to me how you could talk to those kind of people in like just because you joined and because you bought an
Mm-hmm.
NFT, you could join these communities. That just like blew my mind, and from that point on, I've just been daily on Twitter and Discord, and then I actually joined as a moderator early 2022 when they
Okay.
opened a few positions before the second collection from World of Women, the WoW Galaxy collection. And
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
them on, I've just continued to gain experience in the space through working at various Web3 projects and startups and NFT collections, etc. So yeah, I've been working at World of Women as a mod and for almost a year now, and then I'm also working at a Web3 startup here in Barcelona and helping them out as well. And I obviously
Okay.
recently joined Based AF as a moderator before the launch
Yes.
in late December, early January. So it's been a bit crazy, but I'm definitely enjoying.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I think that's the beauty of Web3. You just get introduced to it through a friend, and you just start designing on Twitter. You just start just going down the rabbit hole, and that's how you understand the space and get deeper into it. And also, you talking about you started off with Web3 and then eventually started working with projects, and you even like found a job and helping out startups from where you are currently, which is actually that's how just the journey is, right? And it's just great to learn about that. That it empowers young folks who are new to the space to come in to understand and give their best, whatever the skill set they have to bring. They just bring it on the table, and you're actually rewarded, and that's how you start building proof of work, and it just goes on. So yeah, I think that's great, Auli, right? So you actually pointed out about World of Women Galaxy. So was that the transition for you? And how do you even why do you even want to apply for a mod role or anything? So, did you know what a mod role is, or how did you get started?
I mean, my thought at the time was I was already spending and enjoying my time a lot in the World of Women community. I've just always felt like they've, really been really respectful and they've taught me a lot in there. So like at the time, I was just learning about NFTs, thanks in big, like in part thanks to the WoW community, and I
Okay.
just got the opportunity to apply, and I decided, okay, let's see how this works out, and it's worked out pretty well, and obviously it's given me the opportunity to then go and grow professionally and go into also seeking other opportunities and stuff. So it's been quite a journey, and obviously the NFT market has gone up and down a lot, so it's been quite a roller coaster. But in terms of
Yeah.
just learnings and experience, it's been just incredible for me, and I'll always be like I'll always appreciate the opportunity that the WoW team gave me a lot, because they've taught me a lot, and thanks to them, I'm where I'm at today. So yeah, that was just like my thought at the time. Like, let's take this opportunity to help out a project which I'm already part of, and I've already
Hmm.
kind of like invested into the collection and the team. So let me just try it out and see how it goes. Like, I wasn't super experienced on what a moderator role implied and stuff, but I just started,
Okay.
learning from there. So it was a very good opportunity for me. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
makes
Makes
sense,
sense.
makes
Makes
sense.
sense.
So, Auli, can you also highlight a few pointers about the scope of work of a of a moderator working for projects? Because a lot of projects do need moderators for Discord, for their social networks and everything, right? So, for someone who's watching this who is new to Web three and uh, wants to explore and just get into a role or something, because I've seen that moderator role is like a starting point for a lot of people who are good with community building, and the non-tech folks, I've seen them applying for a lot of mod roles. So if you can explain what goes into a mod role, right? What is it even? What
What
does
does
that
that
even
even
mean?
mean?
I mean, from my experience to start off, I think, as you said, it's a great way to start off if you're like if you're like a developer or a very techy person. So I think that's very well said. And in terms of what it implies, like from my experience, what I've seen is just it's about controlling and engaging with the community, creating community inside of Discord, and just being very responsive and trying to interact with everyone, and making it feel like a safe space for everyone, and just keeping up with the vibe of the community, and just overall just helping out what maybe the team can like the team can be on Discord all the time. So just kind of like helping out the team and spreading the message and just engaging with the community. That's just like been my experience so far. Obviously, there's times where there's like a lot more activity than others. Like, I remember the WoW Galaxy drop; it was super crazy at that time. Like, thousands and thousands of like new people were joining every day on the Discord, and it was like super hard to keep up with everyone, and like make sure as a moderator, make sure everyone was feeling safe, and like no one was getting scammed, and like everyone making sure everyone had the info they needed to keep up with everything. So it's just kind of being in the middle between helping out the team and engaging, and also helping out the community. So yeah, I just feel like that's what sums it up for me, as like from what I've seen and what I've experienced.
Got it, got it, got it. I think that definitely sums it up and gives a great insight into what the scope of work is, because you also pointed out something about safety links. Can you highlight that even more? Because we've seen millions of dollars of hacks happening, and everyone can be a prey for it. Even Kevin Rose, it happened very recently, and it just shows you that security is a very important thing in Web3. And so, how do you think a moderator can help out in security of a project and helping them secure the Discord server and being a part of the team? How do you think they can do that?
Well, I mean, I think it's anywhere from just making sure no one is posting scam links on like general chats or anything, and obviously banning them and deleting them as soon as possible. And it goes from there to educating new community members who join, and just giving them a brief of what security in Web3 looks like. Obviously, it's very new for everyone when they join. Like no one knows what a like a non-custodial wallet is, or even what a ledger is as soon as they join Web3. So it's obviously a lot about educating new people that are coming into the space a lot as well, and just giving them good resources to look into and to expand further. So yeah, I feel like it's a mix of both of this. And I just thought about it now, and as you mentioned before, sorry for
Mm-hmm.
going back a little, but like 5 minutes
Yeah,
ago
go
when you
ahead. Yeah.
said
Mm-hmm.
you've seen a lot of people which are not developers or very techy start as a moderator and then expanding onto doing like crazy stuff. I just want
Yes,
to
yes,
like
yes.
point out, I read like a week ago about I was reading about Snowfroze, which is like Eric Calderon, the founder of Art Blogs and the creator of Chromie Squiggles. I was reading through a post which talked about his history, and
Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't know about it, but he was actually a moderator at the CryptoPunks Discord for quite a long time.
Okay.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
it was just crazy to me to think about like how a moderator from a CryptoPunks Discord, he was like constantly sharing his vision for art blogs and for what he wanted to create for a long time. And then he
Okay.
Okay.
finally went on to create it. And he already had kind of like the initial support from the CryptoPunks community because he had been there for quite a long time. So it was like quite like eye-opening for me to see how anyone, like the opportunities in Web3 are massive, and anyone literally can go from being no one to being a moderator to being
Yes.
the founder of a very important platform, one of the most important platforms, and essentially one of the most important collections in Gen art history. So it was like
Okay.
super impressive to me to see. It's I think it's like one of those stories you have to tell someone, and you have to explain to someone when they are doubtful about Web3 and the opportunities that there are in this industry. So yeah, I just wanted
Mm-hmm.
to point that out because it's quite impressive.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I think it definitely is about finding the right set of people, finding the right connections, and tapping into the network and adding as much value as you can. And you can become, like Auli said, from nothing to a moderator to even a founder, right? So I think that's what Web3 does. It empowers you. If you have the skill set for it, the market will value you. So that's definitely the best part about Web3. I feel, right? Oh, there's a fly on my microphone, but but yes. Makes sense, Ali. So can you also talk about as a community point of view, how to like build a community, because Discord definitely is a great way to have folks from various parts of the world to having them in this platform. For example, in based AF we have the Trashland, right? So we have different folks from all around the world who believe in what based AF does, and based heads in the Discord in our Trashland. So in the Trashland itself, in the Discord itself, how do you think a community moderator can build their own brand? Because I also think that a personal brand is very important when you're in Web3, because that's how people recognize you, and having a PFP which people instantly recognize you of, because we've seen Whale Swoosh, how Whale Swoosh is going on Twitter left, right, and center, adding value with threads, and all the CloneX fam. So if you can also just share a few pointers on how important digital identities are in the Web3 space while you're in a part of the community. So that's the question. What do you think?
I think digital identity and building out your personal brand is one of the most important like factors in Web3. And if you're looking to build long term, building out an audience in Web3 is super important. And if you can provide value to an audience and eventually build out a community around it, I think that's one of the most valuable things you can do in Web3. And you can also kind of like do them as a side hustle while you're working or studying, and you're kind of involved in the space. It's just a great way to keep learning and keep building out uh, for the long term. Kind of, that's how I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that's the initial part. And in relation to like community building inside of like collections, like NFT collections and stuff. What like my thoughts around it are, it's super important for the founding team and for the team to set like the foundations of like everything from like the lore and the development of the project, just to like set the foundations. And then if you do it correctly and if you enable your community to build upon that, that's like one of the most valuable things you can do in Web3. Because what we've seen from the success of
Mm-hmm.
various collections and various NFT ecosystems in the space, we've just seen how valuable it is to kind of empower your community to build and to, create stuff around, like if it's the IP or if it's the lore, just, enable your community to be creative and to, just do whatever they feel like doing. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's, one of the most important factors in the Web3 space. Like we've seen that with like the Bored Ape Yacht ecosystem. Like you look at like a thread from Twitter I looked at the other day, where they just highlight everything that's being built on top of the any like Yuga asset, like if it's CryptoPunks or if it's Bored Ape Yacht Club or like any other collection. And it's actually
Mm-hmm.
like incredible. And that just describes you a big part of the success of the Yuga ecosystem definitely comes from that. And it's anywhere from people building out products and services on top of their assets, or building out personal brands, building podcasts which highlight, any Yuga asset, or, even building, side projects, kind of like what we saw with
Mm-hmm.
the Tank ATF. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but like Tank ATF or Mutant Hounds, like those projects,
Yeah.
those collections were kind of built and inspired from one of the Yuga assets, like for example with Mutant Hounds, the mutants. So I think that's super valuable. Like Yuga set the foundation and it enabled, their community to build upon the foundations. So I think that's
Correct.
one of the most valuable things we've seen so far in Web3, and how, NFTs have enabled that to happen. And I feel like with Base AF, obviously the longer term vision is also to, set the foundations and then enable the community to build upon the lore and the developments of Trashland and everything
Yes.
that will be, that we'll discover in the future. So I think that's one of the most important things in regards to that. Yeah.
Got it, got it, got it. And I think you also pointing out about how leveraging the IP is such an important factor here. It's great, right? Because a project that comes out of nowhere, it builds an IP, it establishes something, and now you have the opportunity to build on top of that, right? So uh, I think it's just amazing to see how the space is evolving. And also you also explained a little bit about what Base AF is doing, right? Because with all the based heads, we get a complete A16Z license where we're just free to create anything out of that. And so I'm also gonna go to AI VTubers after this. So what I'm basically trying to say is, for example, you have your NFT, you have your based head, you have your CloneX, and now you want to, let's say, for example, create a complete podcast out of it. So it's just going to be your AI VTuber creating the podcast. So that's a whole different brand. You can create that on YouTube. You can post that as content, and you're just adding value on a whole new scale. So now my question to you, Oli, is how do you see the merge of AI and Web3 happening, and also highlight a few pointers about what AI VTuber is. So explain that to us. Would love to hear from you because we've seen you degenning on Twitter for a while. So tell us about it.
Started with this, I mean, AI and Web3. I mainly see, like, from what I've kind of learned so far and what I've seen so far, I see a lot of potential in how it can merge into the creator economy and how the future of the creator economy looks like in that sense.
Mm-hmm,
I've
mm-hmm.
just, been very interested in seeing some of the trends that have been going on, especially in Asia, with like VTubing and virtual influencers and all that stuff. Like
Correct.
there's like very very big influencers, virtual influencers popping up essentially all over the world, but especially the trend has started in Asia. And I see that because the through AI, like we've seen with GPT, because the creation of content through AI is essentially means you can create, you know, unlimited amount of content. If you have that paired with like, I mean, I think if you have virtual influencers and you pair that with like the power of AI, which, you know, basically enables you to create unlimited amount of content, and you pair that with NFTs to monetize your audiences, that's just like it blows my mind how like the creator economy can shape into, and how it can look like to, you know, interact with virtual influencers in the future. So it's just something I've been very passionate about, and I'm just still trying to get my you know, my head around it, because it's quite new and quite innovative. How we've seen that NFTs can be a way for, you know, to monetize your audience in like a more, like a better way, kind of, in terms of like the business model, because it's like much more efficient. There's like you don't have to like pay for transport and stuff. So in that sense, I think once like content creators and once like the creator economy as a whole starts to see the potential there and starts to realize that, you know, products and services are going to be monetized more digitally over the years. And once we see that essentially digital products means like anywhere from like merch to stamps to, you know, skins on a game or anything like that, when all of those assets start to be monetized digitally and essentially through NFTs, I think we'll see, you know, a massive boom there. And essentially because of that, content creators will just continue to grow and grow, and they will just continue to be a more important part of our society. Like they already are very important, like
Correct.
compared to, you know, 5 to 10 years from now, when, you know, brands and you know, the TV had all the power and, you know, had all the attention. We've obviously transitioned from that. It's pretty clear even to, you know, most adults nowadays. But, you know, we're just now seeing how NFTs can actually enable these content creators to even continue to grow more exponentially and increase the reach that they have and the attention that they have through NFTs. So I think that's going to be very interesting. And then if you tie that into how AI can, you know, so can also be in that mix. I think with the rapid like advancements we've seen in AI, obviously with, you know, ChatGPT, we all know what ChatGPT is, and we, you know, most of us already use it on a daily basis. So like if you pair that with NFTs and how that all ties up together, you know, I just see how we can, you know, in the future, in the next few years, we can see AI streamers, like streamers, virtual streamers powered by AI, which essentially can stream 24/7 on Twitch, because, you know, they there's no like real person behind it. There's no person that has to sleep behind it. There's no person that has to eat or that has in real life problems. So I just see the potential there for AI streamers to essentially pop up when the technology is ready, and I think it's quite there. To be honest, like we've seen ChatGPT blow up so quickly. So like, why not just, you know, when video and all of that comes into AI, and we're already seeing it, if we start to see, you know, AI streamers who kind of can be programmed to be as entertaining as possible and have a very, you know, personal touch with our audience. If we can get there in the next 2 years, I think we'll start to see a lot of AI streamers start to, you know, gain a lot of, you know, attention in the creator economy, and they will have like one of the most virtual audiences. Like obviously I don't think 80-year-olds are gonna watch that. They're most likely gonna be like 10 to 15 to 20-year-olds are gonna be like their target audience. So it's gonna be like a very, very virtual and digital audience. And we all know what that means. That means these people, these, you know, 10 to 20-year-olds, they care more about their Fortnite skins than they do about their, you know, Nike hoodie, like Nike in real life hoodie. So what does that mean? These AI streamers or these virtual influencers, they are most likely going to monetize and start to monetize their audiences through NFTs. And, you know, maybe some of them, the ones that make sense, they're going to be paired with in real life products, with physical products, but not all of them. Like you're not, why would you monetize your audience at all times through physical products, which, you know, have like a lot of waiting times and a lot of time to develop, and the costs are insane there when you can, do it through digital products, which are products that if you design them well and if you implement them well and if you distribute them well to your audience, can be the same or even more impactful to your audience. Because as we've said, these digital audiences and these 10 to 20-year-olds, including myself, we care much more about our digital assets because we essentially spend almost half of our waking hours in front of a screen. So it just makes sense for us to, finally have property rights of assets in this digital life that we live in. So yeah, that's kind of an overview of how I see it happening. But yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting.
Perfect, perfect. I actually like the way you described it because, like, 10 or 20-year-olds, we care so much about being digital, and we already are spending more than half of our waking hours on the internet, right? And for us, I think what's more, let's say for example, um, what's more valuable for someone spending more than 50% of their waking hours on the internet is a Lamborghini Urus or a Rolex, or is it going to be a PFP with a community that you can brag about? So the both of them give you the bragging rights, but the only thing is one is IRL and the other is online. So when it's online, it makes more sense for younger folks. I think that's the best way to sum up why digital identities are super important and why NFTs are super important. So I think you just basically summed up the next 5 years of how virtual VTubing is, right? So I'd say it's a new concept, but there are already a lot of VTubers, right, Auli? Because we've been chatting about this to and fro on Discord as well, and there are already a few VTubers. And what are they doing differently? What do you think they are offering to their audience? Why would someone just go watch an animated picture, moving and streaming? What's the entertainment in that? Yeah, just an honest question. What's the entertainment in that? Yeah.
From what I've seen so far, the trend comes from Asia mostly. Like it's quite normalized in Asian countries, as you said before, mainly from what I've seen, Japan and South Korea. So I've seen it a lot in those countries, and I think it's essentially, as of now, it's just real persons behind it, and you essentially have like skins that are mostly, some are 2D, but most of them, as like the most high quality ones, are 3D, and they are like with AR filters and stuff. And it's essentially a new way to kind of attract a new kind of target audience, I'd say. Like there are, as I said, 10 to 15-year-olds that just want everything more virtual, I feel like. So they just prefer seeing skins. Maybe they are more, I don't know, like I'm making my mind here, but maybe they are more used to seeing virtual characters when they are in front of the screen. So they are just tired of seeing in real life humans or like real faces in their screens. They just want to see virtual stuff because they are used to, playing video games and seeing virtual characters. So it would make sense to, for them to just want to see also see virtual characters once they go into, YouTube or Twitch. So maybe that could be one of the reasons. But as of now, I've just seen, like as I said, for now, real life humans that have a skin on their faces, and that's how essentially the trend has started. But what it means for the future is when you pair that with like AI or even like 3D animations, render animations, and all that stuff, you just have like a lot of creativity going on there. And we've seen virtual influencers pop up, and they're making, big amounts of money, and they have a lot of attention. Like, I don't know if you know Lil Michaela, but he's just a virtual influencer, which is programmed by some company, I think in the US. She's closing partnerships with big brands to be on, big advertisements and stuff. And it's not a real human behind it. It's essentially programming and essentially 3D skins and AR filters and all that stuff. So I think there is a lot of potential there. And one of the collections in NFTs that I've been fascinated about is clone eggs. Obviously, I bought a clone eggs like 2 months ago, I think. And one of the things that fascinated me the most is seeing a bit, going back to what I said before, how the team has set the foundations and has given the community resources
Yes.
to be creators around their clone eggs and their their IP around their clones essentially. And one of the things they've done is give you the 3D files of your clones, so you can go into snap filter and sorry
Okay.
lens. I think it's Lens Studio. You can go into Lens Studio and set up your AR filters, and you can essentially become a VTuber with using your clones. As of now, it's just the face. It's just an AR filter with a face, but they are working on VRMs similar
Okay.
to base DF is also working on VRMs for all base sets. So
Yes.
that's something to look up for. But I mean it's super exciting. And clones, we've already started to see a lot of creators using their AR filters, and even a lot more using like all the 3D rendering and everything that's been going on there. There's a big community of creators there, maybe like one of the best I've seen in NFT, in the NFT space. So I think it's a very interesting space, and I'm super excited to see, once we start getting those VRM files, to start to see some clones actually becoming virtual like VTubers and start streaming on Twitch, and also base heads, doing the same thing. So that's gonna be super
Yes.
interesting. And maybe in the next couple of years we see clones and base heads being powered by AI and streaming on Twitch 24/7. I mean
Yep.
anything could
Yep.
happen in this space, but that's it's something that could eventually happen if the team gives those resources to the community, and the community is creative and just wants to experiment with new stuff, which I'm sure we all do. So that's going to be super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 100% right. Because, and the best part again is the collaborative mindset in the space. So let's say you own both, right? You have a clone and a base head. So imagine you build your own storyline, you build your own comic or even a manga out of it, and I mean, the possibilities are honestly endless. You could just have it, and even like create like reels and content and educational content out of it. And now people recognize you by the based head or the clone X that you have. And of course, 3D renders here are super important. And it's just crazy to see how it's all evolving. So, do you think this is like the start of the metaverse, the 3D renders, the VTubers? So, for example, right now, no one really exactly knows what a metaverse is. But we do have a lot of different bits and pieces, like puzzles, which we can just bring together and build something out of it. So, do you think this is the start of the metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been super hard for me to define what the metaverse is, but I've just come to the conclusion that for me it's just virtual worlds, to just sum it up real quick. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to have NFTs there, or it doesn't have to be related to speculation or like cryptocurrency or blockchain at all.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just more about the tech that is behind it and how we're gonna evolve into more and more immersive experiences through
Mm-hmm.
technologies like AR, VR, 3D, etc. So
Correct.
to me, it just feels like we are definitely going more into the metaverse, or at least we're gonna have like more immersive experiences in the next few years than we do now, through how when these technologies start to evolve and start to turn into in real life products that people want to use. But yeah, I think
Correct.
we're definitely going into that direction, because people just want more virtual stuff, and they want to experiment and experience more immersive stuff in their life. So I think it's inevitable that we go into that space, and it will obviously be super important and super interesting to see how projects that have been launched through the NFT ecosystem, like Other Side or whatever comes next, how those kind of immersive platforms evolve, and how it's
Mm-hmm.
adopted or not by the mass market, or even by the the more niche NFT community. So I just think it's going to be super interesting to see how all of that evolves. But essentially, like as we said before, we're spending more of our half of our working hours in
Yes.
front of a screen. So obviously we're just gonna the technology of these screens, of what this more than half of our waking hours look like and feel like, are gonna evolve and are gonna become, you know, more immersive than they are now. So that's definitely gonna happen. And obviously, if we're spending so many hours in front of our screens, we're obviously gonna you know we're gonna want and we're gonna care about having digital assets in the
Yes.
world and in front, like in the place that we spend so much time on. So I feel like NFTs, even if we, you know, end up calling them digital collectibles or whatever we end up calling them, because, you
Yeah.
know, who knows. But
Yeah.
I feel like they are obviously going to be important, and they are going to be, you know, a big part of what all of this evolves into. So yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I like the way you described it, because of course it's just so difficult to explain what a metaverse is to your grandmother, but the way you just put it there, virtual worlds, and like, you know, you having an avatar and more immersive experience. I think that's exactly what it is, having an immersive experience in this virtual world. It's just super exciting to see how it's going to shape up and what the future holds. So, you know, I think we are at the end of our session, but of course, we do have a few questions to cover here. I'd say, can you explain us about the marathon that Supermassive recently did, and how it could actually help out when you have these digital assets, and how can you build on those? So do you think there are different ways to do so? And also, yeah, this was my question. Yes, I wasn't able to frame it properly, but I hope you understand what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So I think that the marathon video was a very, you know, kind of good experience, and it gave us a good sense of what some of the activations at Base TF are going to look like, and how, you know, these virtual worlds tying up with communities, like in this case, the Base Tech community, how you know, how many cool experiences we can sort of bring out of all of that, and how we can, you know, all come together from different parts of the world and experience, like, if we're in a place together and we're experiencing something together in this virtual world. And obviously it was done through VR chat. Not all of us have VR headsets, but as I
Mm-hmm.
said, like, as the metaverse tech evolves, these experiences that, you know, BaseDF is already, you know, working on and is already executing on, are going to get
Mm-hmm.
even more and more exciting. So I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like it was a very, it gave us like a hint of what is to come for those
Okay.
activations, and how it all ties up together with the communities and essentially, you know, the base heads NFTs. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that was a very clear representation of what BaseDF is building here. And it was a very exciting activation, and it was a very, you know, it was a great way for the community to get together and to, you
Yep.
know, rally
Yep.
around a certain goal. So yeah, that was super interesting to see for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was great, right? Because like you pointed out, not everyone has access to the VR headsets, but the VR chat, of course, you just set up stream, you set up it on your PC, and you're in the world, right? So of course, I think it was amazing to see what happened there, and also raising $100,000 for cause charity. And I think, again, coming back to the previous point again, the possibilities are endless with these virtual worlds. So yeah, I think we've covered about what a moderator does, about community management, about VTubing and the metaverse. So because we've been in the community space for a while, would you want to highlight what are the problems that community managers face, or even products face in building communities? Maybe a few would be great. What's from your experience? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the main one, maybe I'll mention a couple. The main one of the ones I've seen most recently, and we've seen most recently in the space, is the overloading, the like the huge amounts of content and stuff we have to keep up with. So that's been,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a real challenge for obviously moderators, but also like teams in the NFT space, and obviously, you know, participants in the space. it's just been super hard to keep up with everything, with so many projects going, like so many stuff is going on all the time, 24/7. So it's super hard to keep up with everything. So it's obviously it's quite a problem, and it's something that projects and teams have to figure out. How can we kind of update our community in a way that they don't feel overwhelmed, but that they have all the info they need? So I just feel like we have to find a middle ground there and see how we can make that happen from a project standpoint, and also to give the community kind of the best experience, so that it doesn't feel like kind of like a part-time job to keep up with everything, which unfortunately it currently feels like that for some people. So I feel like that's one of the main issues I've seen so far in the space, and that also ties in with the second problem which I've seen is a lot of these NFT projects have been finding it really hard to get the attention from their collectors, because maybe some of them are not on Discord on a daily basis, some of them are not on Twitter, so it's just hard to find and to give updates to your collectors. So I feel like that's one of the main issues I've seen as well, and I'm not sure if we've kind of found the solution there, but I hope through development of platforms and tools that are more user friendly, we can maybe get there at some point in the future. But I think it's important at some points to remind ourselves that not everyone can be on Discord all the time or on Twitter all the time. So we just need to make it super as simple as possible for them, and just make it the best experience for them, so that they don't have to feel overwhelmed every one day signing to Discord. So
Makes sense.
I just want to highlight that, because I think it's something we've obviously during the bull market everyone was happy and everyone wanted to spend like 4 or 5 hours a day keeping up with everything. But now during the bear market, for many reasons, some people have left, and it's obviously hard to keep those people updated. So we just have to, it's as a community and as an ecosystem, I feel like we have to find a solution there, especially for when people start to gain interest again in this in all of this ecosystem, to be ready to actually give those updates on a consistent basis, but also make sure people are not feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah. That's great. That's great, because, of course, there are a lot of problems that has to be solved. As Because where I was coming from was, as community managers, what the problems we face, and I think you definitely highlighted some key important factors there to consider, and even build tools on. I think the simplicity here is important, because, like you said, not everyone really wants to be on Discord all day or on Twitter all day. Not so. What I've seen in the NFT space is not everyone is degen, but they are in the space. They want to be in the space, but they really just can't spend most of their time on Discord and Twitter. So yeah, applications for that really do make sense. And I hope listeners also get a few ideas, and if they want to build tools, it'd be great, right? So that's something that is very important that you pointed out. So yes, Auli. So one last question would be, so for someone of our age, so for someone who's in their early 20s, what's the best way to get into the NFT space? What would it be?
The short question for me would be Twitter, but it's a very complex. It's very complex. I think if you know how to use Twitter, and if you have a few tricks and of how to like use Twitter more efficiently, rather than just spending 3 hours on your timeline doing nothing. If you know how to structure your Twitter efficiently through lists or through whatever way you find most useful. I think Twitter is a great way to actually start developing your network, start getting to know people, start getting getting info on what the NFT space is, and kind of start to get to know what the culture in Web3 is, and get started with that, and then kind of the rest comes with the culture. Like once you're in the Web3 culture, and once you're in the in NFT Twitter, and you know what you're doing,
Okay.
and you know the people you're following and everything, and you have, you know, maybe you get to know a few people and you get to chat with them, and you get to, you know, learn from them. I feel like from there it just go on. I think it like from there you just find a community that you really like, and
Mm-hmm.
you make deeper connections in that community, and you just keep learning from there and seeing what possibilities and what opportunities arise from there, and you just take it on from there with whatever feels best with you. So I would say Twitter, but use it efficiently. Like, don't spend 8 hours on Twitter, because
Good.
it's
Yeah.
not gonna work. Like, you're just
Yeah.
gonna be burnt out in a couple of weeks or whatever, because obviously, you know, it's not, you know, it's not something you should do. You shouldn't spend 8 hours a day on Twitter doing nothing. So just, you know how to use it efficiently, and just
Mm-hmm.
get to know people in the space that you think are valuable and that are providing value, and that are building stuff, or like even building stuff anywhere from a project to a personal brand to, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
platform or anything like that. Just get to know those people and just see what opportunities arise, and just go with your
Okay.
common sense and with whatever you like the most.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, yeah. I think that was definitely great advice. I think that's how it starts off, and a lot of people do stress how important Twitter is, but you also sharing that spending like 8 to 12 hours there and not being super productive doesn't really make sense. So it's all about finding that sweet spot and adding value to the space and finding the right kind of connections, and things will happen. So I think that was our podcast, guys. And honestly, I'm working with Auli as well, and it's just great to work with Auli. The chill vibes that he gives, all the fun stuff that he shares on Discord. So if you aren't familiar with Auli, you should just check out his socials. Also come and visit us at BaseDayF and join the Discord. We'll be there. You can always hang out with him. So it was a great pod again, Auli. Peace out.